Hey foodies, thanks for watching. Let's bring some luck to this kitchen and let's make some shamrock cookies. And I want to start by making the food dye because I thought, you know what, let's go right out and make some natural food dye. And I want to start with some spinach because shamrocks are green, and I'm just going to coarsely chop these up. And then I'm going to add this to a pot of water with some lemon juice. And the lemon juice is going to help keep the color really, really bright. And I'm going to put that on medium heat and just let it cook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a lid on that and just let it simmer for a bit. And while that's cooking down, let's put together the cookie base. So we want to start in a mixer with some softened butter and some sugar and our vanilla. And you might be wondering what this is here. This is vanilla beans. This is the seed from the vanilla bean, I should say. And I've used about a half a bean's worth of seed. The other half is going to go into our icing. So I'm going to beat this up until the butter is nice and fluffy. Crack an egg. Oh, and I'm going to grab my bowl. And there we go. And that is going to go into our mixer. And while that's mixing up, I'm going to mix the baking powder and the salt with my gluten-free flour blend. And I'm going to mix everything up. So that looks really well mixed. I'm just going to step aside for a minute. We're going to take a look at the spinach. Oh, it's perfect. Look at that. It's cooked right down. So I'm just going to let that sit for a minute, and we're going to get the rest of the dough put together, and then we'll blend that up and we'll make it into a food dye. So I'm going to add my flour, take some off that top of the paddle, and I'm going to mix this up. That came together so easily. It looks so good. So let's scrape off the paddle. Oh, it's a beautiful looking dough. There we go. Oh, that vanilla bean smells so yummy. So I've got some parchment paper here, and I'm going to put some parchment paper down, and then I'm going to scrape this out. There we go. And what I want to do is I want to put another sheet of parchment paper on top of this and roll it out. Just like so. And I want to roll this to about 5 millimeters or 1/4 inch. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over because I'm sure it's a little wrinkled on the other side. And this is what I love about parchment paper is I just peel it off and I'm going to stick it back on and I'm going to roll this side just a little bit just to even out any little bits that I missed. There we go. That needs to go a little bit more. There we go. This is going to go into the fridge. There we go. I'm going to slide that right on. This is going to go into the fridge for about 30 minutes just so that it sets up and the butter stiffens up. So while that's setting up in the fridge, let's go ahead and make the dye. So I've got my spinach here, and most of the water has boiled off, as you can see. And that's fine with me. And it's not going to be an artificial green color. It's going to be more of a natural green color, which really I would rather have a natural green color. So I'm just going to blend this up. And I'm going to put it through a strainer. And I've got a little tiny strainer here. Let's see how this works. Now, we don't need much food dye, which is nice, so that's why I didn't want to do much. But whatever is left over, we can always use up in like a week or two, as long as it's stored in the fridge. So we just push that through, because really it's the liquid we want. It's not necessarily the pulp or the fiber. I mean, we could absolutely use the fiber. Oh, look at that. It's a beautiful green. So I'm gonna let that cool, and I'll see you in a couple minutes when the dough is all set up. It's been about a half hour, and this feels like it's firmed up really nicely. I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to peel off the parchment paper, because we're going to use the parchment paper as obviously when we're baking. So I'm just going to set that there. I've got some dusting flour with my gluten-free flour. Okay, and I'm going to flip this right on top. Oh, that looks beautiful. There we go. And I'm just going to give this a light roll just to make sure it's nice and even. That looks really, really nice. Okay. And now we just go ahead and cut out shamrocks. And you can see, I mean, it's just cut them out. Let's set that one there for now. Oh, that one came out as well. Look at that. I think if that's going to be the case, so they're going to come out, I'm just going to grab my sheet pan here with my parchment paper. I'm just going to set them right on the pan. That one didn't. Oh, there. That one came out. That's nice. I find baking is really relaxing, and I wonder if you find it relaxing too. I mean, it's relaxing when things go well, and I like to think most of the time it goes well for me. There's the odd time where I've been baking and it just fails miserably, and sometimes you just have to chalk it up to, oh, it's just a bad day. But today seems to be a good day for baking, and that's why I wanted to make shamrock cookies with you. There we go. Probably squeeze a few more. I want to leave a little bit of space when I'm putting these out. Some of them seem, that's better. Some of them can go a little bit closer just to make them fit a little nicer, and we can probably fit a few more on there. Look at that. And I'm going to take my lifter. Probably got enough already cut out. There we go. That one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to roll out the rest of this dough. There we go. So these are going to go into a preheated oven of 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 degrees Celsius for 10 to 12 minutes. See you in a moment. Oh my goodness, these smell so good. I mean, the vanilla is wafting through this place. It's just so lovely, and you can see, I mean, they've gotten so beautifully brown and golden on the bottom. You can see the edges are a little bit brown. I'm really excited to sink my teeth into these, but I want to make some icing first. So I'm going to set these over behind me. We'll let them cool just a little bit more. They did take 10 minutes in my oven. Your oven might be a little bit different, so do check it from time to time. Just make sure that they're not going to be overdone. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to put my butter in and my icing powder. And there we go. Icing sugar goes in there. And I've got some more vanilla beans. It's going to make it smell so good. I've also got some vanilla extract. And I'm going to put in about half of the amount of the cream that I've got there because I don't know how much of the food dye I'm going to be needing. So I'd rather not make it too sloppy. So I'm going to mix this up. And I find a little tiny bit of liquid goes an awful long way when it comes to making icing. I've let that beat for about 60 to 90 seconds, and you can see already it's getting nice and fluffy, that butter, and the icing sugar is blended in really nicely. So now I'm going to add in some of my green food dye and just see how it colors it. See if our hard work in making a natural food dye has actually paid off. So I'm going to start with, let's do 2 teaspoons and see. I think I can put the rest of this in. So I'm going to put all of that in. And I think for smoothness sake, I'm going to pour in the last of that cream. We're going to mix it all up. It's definitely gone green. It hasn't gone as green as I was thinking it was going to go, but it's definitely gone green. I mean, it was the first time I had ever tried making a natural food dye. And, I mean, it's a little bit darker than the white from the original mixing, so I'm going to say that's a success. This spinach green-ish kind of a dye. There we go. Now, I'm sure if I wanted it even greener, I could really mix in some more of that pulp, and that would really bring out the green. But I wanted a nice smooth texture. But in any case, I want to fill a piping bag, and I've got a piping tip on here that's going to give a little bit of a flour end. And I'm just going to fill this piping bag up. You can also use like an offset spatula or a knife and just spread it onto your cookies. But I like the idea of a little bit of a fancy edge. And just fancify up my cookies. There we go. I'm going to set that aside. Oh, that's good icing. That's really good icing. Okay. It feels like the perfect consistency. Sometimes I've made icing in the past and it's just been this rock hard to pipe icing, and it's so nice and smooth. So I'll grab a couple cookies. There we go. Oh, they smell so good. And all I want to do, I'm going to go right in the middle. And I'll start here and we'll just... There we go. Look at that. Maybe a little bit of a stem. There we go. We'll do it again. So all I'm basically doing is I'm making little hearts. Funny looking hearts, but hearts nonetheless. When you're piping with a piping bag, I find a lot of times the icing comes out the top, and if you give it a twist a couple times, you can see I've pushed it down, and then I twist it just a couple times, and then I keep my hand up at the top. I don't have to squeeze as hard. I use this hand to squeeze most of it, and then it doesn't come out the top because it's pinched off. And it makes it really easy come out. And I find just a little bit of warmth from my fingers and my hands has made it so that this is just softening up just a tiny little extra bit more. Look at that. I love the vanilla bean in the cookie and the icing. It looks so good. Look at that. That looks good enough to eat. I can't wait to sink my teeth in this. Let's go for, yeah, that one. That was the one I saw first. The smell is so wonderful. I mean, it smells like shortbread with a really strong vanilla flavor to it. And, I mean, it's only 3-leaf clover, but I feel lucky because look at the cookies I get to enjoy. I'm gonna give this a try. That's a really nice cookie. It's a really, really nice cookie. It's a crisp and firm, a little bit sweet, obviously from the icing. It's nice. It's not super crumbly. I really like this cookie. Once they've set up, you can store them in an airtight container for up to a week. I mean, they're not gonna last that long, because once you dig into these, you're gonna be like, oh my god, I gotta eat like 4 or 5 of them. So if you're looking for the full recipe details, you can visit glutenfreeguy.ca. You can also follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. Watch for next week. I'm gonna be making a poppy seed cookie. See you soon. I want another one of those. That was a good cookie. That's a really good cookie.